You go ahead and get started if you like, Kathy.
Okay, I'll get started. Excellent. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining us for our, I don't know, maybe this is our seventh or eighth, I can't add it all up, webinar. Very glad that you're here today. And the topic today is trends in technology. And so Brenda has, as she just said, been channeling her inner geek and learning all about the different technologies that are available to help seniors. And there's quite a number that we've been helping our clients use for many years, stuff that's been around for a long time, like emergency response systems. And there's lots of new technology out there that's really quite interesting and amazing. And so today will be kind of an overview. We're not going to get too deep into anything, but you're most welcome to reach out to us if you want more information. And near the end, we have some time saved for a presentation from Vessa Sampson, who is with TalkTech, and she's going to talk about her technology that is very amazing and all the things that it can do. So that's what we're talking about today. We're going to have everybody stay on mute, and that way there won't be any background noise. But if you have questions, you're certainly welcome to type them into the chat, and we can read them out afterwards and answer the questions. Or at the end of the presentation, you can take yourself off mute and you can ask a question live. And we're happy to stick around as long as you would like to chat with us. We can answer any questions or collect questions that you might have and get back to you if we don't have the answers. What else? I think that's everything. So I'll introduce you. Brenda can give a wave and Heather can give a wave and Vessa. And that's our team presenting for you today. So I'm going to just start with a couple slides. If you want to move that forward, Brenda. Go into about Proactive Seniors. So this is just a really quick overview of who we are. So we are an advisory service and we have offices in Calgary, Edmonton, and Kelowna. And we are a team of professionals that all have a passion for helping seniors and helping their families to make sure that they have the information they need to make really informed decisions, so that they know what services and programs are available so that people are getting the right help at the right time. So it's very important to us that people don't struggle when there's help out there. And so we help to get people to the right resources and make sure that they have the support they need. You can move it forward again, Brenda. And just a little bit about our company. So we've kind of grouped our support into a few kind of key areas. Proactive Seniors Planning is where we help families and seniors, whether they're younger seniors or older seniors, we help them make a plan. And the plan helps them to stay healthy and safe and meet their goals and wishes. Lots of times people are wanting to stay in their home and that's their goal. And so by making a plan, we can identify what their risk factors are, what kind of issues might be coming into play that would hamper them meeting that goal. And then we can address those risks with a strategy, referrals to different services, education, and different supports. So that's our Proactive Seniors Planning service. We also have seniors housing support, and that's where we help to make sure that seniors who do want or need to move get into the perfect place for them. It's a big decision to move out of your home, and we want to really make sure that people know exactly what's available to them and what's the best fit. And so that's a big portion of our business as well, as helping people navigate either the public or the private sector or the subsidized sector for housing for seniors. We provide dementia care coaching, so helping families who are caring for a loved one with dementia to make sure that they know what the resources and services are that are available. And we help to provide tips and strategies and advice as they go through that journey of being a caregiver. And family support is one of our services that we offer to our clients in those three programs, just making sure they don't fall through the cracks. If they need a drive somewhere or they need someone to accompany them to an appointment or help fill out paperwork and application forms, we have people that can help with that as well. And then finally, we have occupational therapy and physiotherapy who will come and see people in their home or in their retirement residence or care facility. So those are our services. And today the focus is really about providing some information and education to you guys about technology. So I'm going to hand it over to Brenda.
Thank you, Kathy. My name's Brenda Josephs. I'm a consultant with Proactive Seniors, and I'm delighted to be here today, channeling my inner geek, as we talked about earlier, to talk about the tech trends for seniors. I'm going to turn off my own camera just to make sure that there's no interference with my internet out here in Kelowna. So, and then I'll turn it back on at the end. But as Kathy said, we certainly welcome you to type in the chat any questions, and then we'll have a little question period at the end. So, Tech Trends for Seniors. This webinar is really a general overview of the technology that can support the well-being of older adults. In the process of doing research for our clients, Proactive Seniors is connected with several companies and tech products, and we can help families find solutions that fit their unique needs and goals. Today's presentation is just to give you some examples and general ideas of what's available in tech for older adults, as well as some approximate costs for that. We're going to leave time at the end for questions. And we're really delighted, of course, to have Vesa Sampson of TalkTech joining us, and she'll be talking later about their product and home monitoring. So today we're going to talk a little bit about tablets and trackers. We're going to dive into the world of robotics. We're going to talk about PERS, or Personal Emergency Response Systems. We're going to give you an example of a medication dispenser. And I see that Tony Karg has actually joined us as one of our guests. And he's actually from the company that has provided the example for us today. So he might be brave enough to answer some questions at the end as well. Tony, welcome. Home safety is another area that we're going to talk about briefly. And then, of course, we're going to invite Vesa to talk about her Berry Care. So, the role of technology in aging. Although it doesn't replace human contact or touch, technology can play a significant role in supporting optimal aging. Telehealth is here to stay, even after COVID is a memory. Video or phone calls with your doctor or other health providers will still be a valid solution for accessing care. Technology has a role in entertaining us, in educating us, and keeping us connected to our family and friends. Virtual experiences are valid and they're valuable. Armchair travel, museum tours, concerts, cooking lessons, they may not be quite the same as they were in person, but they are still quite enjoyable. Technology can support our independence. AgeWell did a study of 5,000 older adults and their caregivers, and 67% were willing to pay out of pocket for technology that allows them to stay at home as they age. So let's start with the fun stuff, tablets and trackers. Interesting to note that 65 plus is the age group that is the fastest growing segment of internet users. And you'll note that much of the tech we are talking about today does require internet access. Some older adults were early adopters, and they've been using technology to connect with others, even as motivation to exercise. Whereas others have been forced to adapt when in-person visits haven't been possible over the last year. For example, my father-in-law, Ted. Our family gave him an iPad last year, which he uses to watch old episodes of Gunsmoke on YouTube, as well as making FaceTime calls instead of phone calls. It happens to be his 84th birthday today, so happy birthday, Ted. So when you're choosing an appropriate tablet, consider what it will be used for. Tablets are portable, they're lightweight, and they're user-friendly. Are you using it for music or podcasts? Are you using it for videos? Watching YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus, or other streaming services. Now note, some of these are free and others are subscription services that charge monthly. Are you using your tablet for an e-reader? Ebooks are less expensive than paper versions, and libraries offer free ebook renters with your library card. It's also important to note that readers provide backlighting adjustments and font size adjustments, which actually can make reading more accessible for many of us. Are you using it for Facebook, social media connections, entertainment? What about video calls? You're connecting with family and friends, or even caregiver support groups. You can use it for games for mental stimulation and fun. And some companies have even replaced their laptops with the tablets. You can get pens, mouses, and keyboards as add-ons. So generally speaking, the bigger the screen, the higher the cost. A larger memory also increases the cost. The three examples I've given here are consistently rated in the top 10 by tech reviewers. Each has its own operating system, which means you have to live with the applications that are compatible. For example, I have an iPhone, an iPad, and a Fitbit, whereas my husband is more a fan of the Android products. It's really about personal preference. The most budget-friendly tablet is the Amazon Fire, which starts at $70 for a 7-inch screen. Next on the list, mid-size or mid-range for pricing is the Samsung Galaxy tablet. Their 8-inch screen starts at $169, and they use the Android operating system. And then, of course, many of you will be familiar with the iPad mini. Their 7.9-inch screen, latest and greatest version, starts at $529. Now, it's worth noting that they do offer free personal engraving when you order from the Apple Store online. Fitness trackers. Again, what do you want to track? Most fitness trackers sync with your cell phone. They can notify you of texts or phone calls, and they can even prompt you to get up and move if you've been sitting for what they consider to be too long. Trackers have become a bit of a medical and wellness tool, and they can actually sync with applications to share information. Some of the features available on trackers include your heart rate, your sleep patterns, if you wear it at night, the number of steps or the activities that you engage in per day, and of course, the time and the date. Starting at $69 for a Samsung Galaxy Fit 2, but $169 for a Fitbit Charge or a Garmin, all the way up to $529 for the latest Apple Watch Series 6. Apple claims the future of health is on your wrist. Let's have a look. How was that? Speaking of cool, many advances in the field of robotics have been made in the last few decades, some of which can make your tasks easier, like the Roomba that vacuums my house, and others that can help us maintain connection and independence when families unable to visit in person. As we talked about earlier, telehealth is here to stay. And the reality is that although nothing replaced human contact and care, smaller families in the last few decades means less access to family caregiving. Isolation also takes a toll on your health. Research shows the effects of loneliness on health is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Radley's Robots in Calgary aims to fill that gap with the robotic companion, which is essentially an iPad on a stick on wheels. I had the opportunity to speak with Savannah Radley recently, and Kathy Mendham actually was sharing with us earlier that she had the opportunity to drive one of these today. But let's have a look and see what Radley's robots can do. So Radley Robot staff are currently operating in the Calgary area. They will deliver their robot. Is there, oh, someone's saying their screen is stuck on the Apple Watch. Is everyone else's screen stuck there? No. Okay, that's good. I'm sorry about that. Sorry, Radley staff will do a video call with your loved one to enable a visual check on the client and the surroundings. The cost of the rental is actually $75 per day for a minimum of 3 days. They have free delivery and setup in the Calgary area. And on arrival, the staff will check the environment and physical well-being and report any concerns to families. The clients actually can also call in to set up video calls, and the robot will automatically charge its own battery when it's getting low. Now, beyond the caregiver companion scenario that we just witnessed in the video, we can certainly see the value and application of this technology. For example, for OTs or occupational therapists or physiotherapists to be able to see somebody and have that interaction in their home, I think would be a great application as well. So lots of potential for that as well. Speaking of robotics and another option for companionship, there's robotic pets. When I worked in senior living, older adults that could no longer care for a pet, and I believe Heather of our team was also sharing that her mom had one of these, really enjoyed the battery-operated cats and dogs, especially in memory care settings, but also in the more independent communities. The costs for these start at about $200 each, plus the batteries, but they are kind of neat. Let's have a look. Kind of cool. So next, we're going to talk about personal emergency response systems, otherwise known as PERS. A personal emergency response system is a common term for a wristband or pendant emergency call button. You might be familiar with names like Philips Lifeline or the TELUS Companion. When the user presses the emergency response button, a call is placed to a call center and responded to by an operator, who will dispatch emergency services if the situation warrants it or if no response is detected. Some devices do not access a call center, and only family contacts in 911 are called directly. Some cues or situations in which it might be time to consider a PERS is if you're alone several hours per day or at night and you're uneasy about it. If you've fallen in the past year and you're anxious about falling again. If you have a chronic disease like heart disease, history of stroke, COPD, diabetes, arthritis, or osteoporosis. If you use an assistive device to help keep your balance while you're walking, a cane or a walker. If you're taking several medications. If you require assistance with bathing, dressing, toileting, etc. And if a PERS would provide peace of mind to you and your loved ones, and you want to continue to live independently. The costs for the PERS systems start from around $25 for a really basic system, and then fall detection, GPS locators, and all the other bells and whistles will obviously add on an additional cost. Most systems do require a monthly contract, but standalone options are also available. For people living with dementia and at risk of wandering, GPS systems that can be worn as a wristband or clipped onto clothing might be a solution. In Alberta or for veterans, government funding for PERS may be available. At Proactive, we've done an extensive review of several types of PERS and can assist families with finding the right supportive technology for your unique needs. Please contact us directly to discuss your options. Medication dispensers. For some people, having meds organized, scheduled, and dispensed is key to maintaining health and independence. Carry Health is an example of a medication dispenser that can notify a family member or caregiver if medications are missed. The load cartridges are prepared by a pharmacist and costs are determined by the pharmacy offering the service. Let's see how this works. Home safety. Staying in your own home may be your preference, but if you or your loved one is living with cognitive impairment, safety in the kitchen is a concern. Unattended cooking is the #1 cause of kitchen fires. Smart Turns from TalkTech is an example of a stove safety device which is suitable for gas or electric stoves that are operated using knobs. When the burners are turned on, a sensor monitors the stove user's movements. If the stove is left unattended for an extended period, Smart Turns will alert the stove user via a local alarm and can also alert the user and/or a remote caregiver via mobile phone notification. I'm sure Vesa can answer any questions that you might have about Smart Turns, but it should be noted that Smart Turns does not turn off the stove automatically. The cost for Smart Turns starts at $199 for 2 knobs, $249 for 4 knobs. In contrast, there are sensors that shut-off technologies, stove shut-off technologies that also work by a sensor, in which unattended stoves are actually turned off to prevent injury and fires. And the cost for those start at $679. Water. I know from personal experience the damage that water can do. It can be as simple as a tap left running and a cloth over the overflow on a washroom sink that results in a flooded bathroom and serious dollars damage to the room beneath it. Flood sensors can work in conjunction with your home alarm system, or alternatively maybe standalone sensors that send you a notification if water is detected. The cost for these start at around $40, and they do require a cell network or Wi-Fi to enable these notifications. Smart homes. The smart home technology continues to evolve, and what I've shown here are just a few of the things that smart homes incorporate, but they are things that can definitely enhance your ability to stay in your home longer. For example, the smart smoke and CO2 detectors, not only do they make a racket if you happen to have smoke or CO2 in your home, but they also notify friends and family if there is an alarm that goes off. And they start at around $50. The motion activated night lights that are shown here, they're battery operated, so they work even when there's a power outage, and they can make it much safer for you to navigate your home in the evening time or overnight. And then voice activated assistants like Google Home or Amazon Echo, they start at around $60. And then the video doorbells where you can actually see the person that's standing at your front door, starting at $90. So a lot of the tech that I've been talking about here, the pricing that I've given you is either from Best Buy or Amazon or Apple directly. And again, it's just really to give you an idea of what the cost would be starting at. So there are some definitely affordable technologies out there for seniors to use to stay more independent in their home. Absolutely. So that's my part of the presentation. And now I'm pleased, I'm going to come back on here. And now I'm pleased to welcome Vesa. Vesa Sampson's from TalkTech, and she's here with us to share a brief overview of their monitoring system called VeriCare. Vesa is the Director of Marketing at TalkTech Technologies, which is a BC-based digital health company that, like Proactive Seniors, is passionate about using technology solutions to support seniors to age independently. Proactive Seniors has been testing out some of their technologies, and we're impressed with its functionality. Welcome, Vesa, and thank you for sharing your time and your expertise with us today.
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you for inviting me to this afternoon, and glad to be here. So, Brenda, I'm just going to take control of this presentation now. Okay, perfect. So everything, did you guys just see the slideshow? Yes. Yeah, okay, so that's great. Thanks, Brenda. So as Brenda mentioned, TalkTech Technologies is a Vancouver-based company, and what I'm going to be talking about today is just one of our products called VeriCare. We have a range of products, and as Brenda mentioned, Proactive Seniors has been testing out some of the technologies, so they will be able to answer more questions about the other products, so I will be able to do that. So I'm going to be talking today about safety monitoring systems in the home. So keeping seniors safe in the home and allowing them to be to age independently for longer. And before I go into details about VeriCare, what I just wanted to mention is in terms of safety monitoring, there's two sort of major categories available in the market for safety monitoring for seniors. And those two categories are wearables and non-wearables. The wearables are more like the PERS system that Brenda had spoken about previously, and that includes, your Philips Lifeline, where it's a pendant that you wear around the neck, or sometimes even comes as a bracelet. The other wearables could be even your Fitbit. So any device that the senior actually puts on their body, versus the non-wearable, which is more sensors in the back or in the home. They're passive sensors, which is sort of the way that TalkTech designed the technology for our safety monitoring system. So a couple of things. The PERS, or the wearable technology, has been around for a long time. Everybody's familiar with that. But there are a couple of challenges with that technology. The fact that first you have to be actually wearing the device on your body to have it work and to be able to press that button to notify someone if you're in trouble. And often seniors forget to put them on. The other thing is having to charge it. That's another issue. Often, the senior might forget to actually charge the device. So these are a couple of things. And often when they need it most, when they happen to have a fall and need it most, they may not have it on them. And so that's why we move towards the area of non-wearable technology. And the major benefits from that are the notifications for risk or safety situations are automatically issued. So the senior doesn't have to activate the device. The senior doesn't have to change behavior in terms of how they use the technology. Everything's actually in the background. It's passive. And many of our clients actually tell us they forget that it's even there. And then the other sort of major benefit is the fact that the system is continuously working in the background 24/7, and it's tracking, things like your sleep tracking. It's also tracking bathroom visits, and I'll tell you why that's important. It's tracking the level of activity, the level of inactivity. And what it's doing is actually learning the profile of the senior or the individual. And then it's able to provide early detection of illness. So anything out of the ordinary in terms of profile, it provides early detection of illness. And I'll talk about that in greater detail. So VeriCare, which is a TalkTech product, which is a non-wearable, has no cameras and no mics. Essentially, it's passive sensors that are installed in the home, in the senior's home. It provides real-time monitoring, so it's up to the second monitoring. It's personalized. As I mentioned, it actually learns the profile of the individual, the activity profile, and it sends personalized alerts and care for the individual. It's connecting with the seniors, so all these alerts are sent via a mobile phone, and it can be sent to their circle of care, and that could include family caregivers as well as professional caregivers, and can be integrated with SmartTurns, the kitchen safety product which Brenda spoke about, and our other products in our platform. And as mentioned, as the safety and wellness notifications are sent to the caregivers' phones. And because it's tracking the activities of the individual, it's able to provide wellness information as well. So just to talk a little bit about the kind of alerts that VeriCare offers the caregivers. So because it's learning. So just to give you a little bit about the technology, there's actually, we use artificial intelligence and machine learning as the background to this, or the basis for this. And it's tracking, or it's learning the profile of the individual. So it makes it a very personalized technology. Some of the alerts that it sends out are extended stay in bed. So for example, if mom normally goes to bed at 10 at night and wakes up at 7:30 in the morning, and now it's 8:30 and she hasn't got out of bed, the system would automatically send an alert to a caregiver to let them know they might want to check in on her. The other type of alerts include no activity that's been detected. So that would possibly notify them of a fall, or that there's no activity. The senior has not returned to bed. That is also a high risk, because at night, often when they go to the bathroom, there's a high risk of a fall in the bathroom. So that's, it will advise or notify the caregiver the senior has not returned to bed. They have left home at night. Maybe they've gone wandering. And then reduction in normal activity level, which could indicate possible illness or maybe even depression. And right now we have with our VeriCare system, it's also able to notify when there's a heart rate and breathing rate is out of range when the senior is in bed. So alerts, again, as I mentioned, are sent to caregivers via the mobile phone app. And this is just a screenshot of what the alert would look like should a risk situation happen and they receive an alert. So again, here, these are sort of screenshots to let you know what you can expect with the VeriCare system. And the caregivers are able to track activities of the senior on their phone. So for example, my mom, actually, I have this VeriCare system for my mom in her home. And throughout the day, what I do to give me peace of mind, I just go into my app and right now I can check and see, and she's in the bedroom. So I just open the app and it tells me at that moment in time, at that exact second, when my mom is in the house, which kind of lets me know, okay, she's in the house. And it also, it's really useful because when I want to call her on her phone, I kind of want to make sure she's by the phone and not upstairs when the phone rings or something like that. So I actually know where she is throughout the day. And the recent movement, if I click that screen, it gives me all of her recent movements up until, I think it's 36 hours, but at least 24 hours. So I can go back and just sort of, have a look at what she's been up to for the day. And I'm pretty familiar with her routine, and anything outside of the routine makes me sometimes question, I wonder why she went out when she shouldn't have, or wonder why she spent more time in bed. So it just gives me sort of peace of mind that everything is, normal for her. The other sort of area which what VeriCare does, it's because it's tracking all these activities, it's able then to provide early detection of illness, and I'll talk about that. So it's tracking things like sleep and how sedentary the senior may be, or how disruptive their night sleep may have been. And what it's doing, it's looking at the individual's profile over a period of time, and anything out of the ordinary, again, it will notify a caregiver of a potential illness. And we've been able to actually identify in our clients, we've been able to identify illness such as a UTI, because the senior has, particular senior maybe had been going to the bathroom twice a night, and all of a sudden that's increased to 4 and 6 times a night, and they ended up having a UTI. A significant reduction in activity level that showed us that there was a possibility of depression. And also in terms of the sleep tracking, how well the senior might be tracking, doctors are now using sleep information such as how well they sleep or how disrupted their sleep is in terms of getting feedback for medication and using that to adjust medication for seniors. So this is all great information and highly helpful information in terms of helping with medication as well as in terms of providing wellness information. Oh, why is it not moving forward now? Okay. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is just user experiences. Like I mentioned, the information that's coming out of the system, many of our clients are saying they want to be able to take to their doctor and share that with them, to show them, an unbiased view of, what actually is happening, how disruptive their sleep is, or how they're feeling. And then the other thing is, the other, I think, really important thing is the seniors are saying that who have used VeriCare, that the system is kind of in the background, they forget about it, and they don't have to change anything about their lives. It's just, working in the background and giving them this information. We have clients in all types of situations, whether they may be a couple or individual living on their own who are using it, and they're being supported by professional as well as family caregivers. We have seniors who maybe are living with their family, but still separately, like in a separate suite, and family still wants to know what's going on. And then we've had seniors where I want to talk about a particular situation where this gentleman had sort of early stage dementia. The family was not far away, pretty close, but they had actually professional caregivers come in during the day between 9 and 12, but they couldn't decide why dad was sleeping so much during the day. So they installed a VeriCare system to sort of understand, and what they found was he wasn't sleeping during the night. And so they were able to get a better idea of his sort of routine. And what they did was actually had a second shift of professional caregivers come in the evening to help him settle during the night, and then he had a better sleep. So it's a great system to be really to understand the activity level of what's going on in the lives of seniors when you can't be there. So that's an example, and we've got lots of examples. Happy to answer any questions, examples of how it's been used. And that's all. Oh, the last thing, that's right. In terms of pricing, this is just sort of a range of pricing. And again, we've been working with Proactive Seniors, so Brenda or Kathy might be able to give you more information. But in terms of pricing, there's a device deposit, and that ranges, and it really depends on the size of the home. That it's a deposit which you get 75% back once you no longer need the system, and then there's a monthly fee, which is in the range of sort of minimum range of $89 a month. But like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions, as well as Brenda and Kathy are also familiar with this technology, and you can ask them any questions you may have. And that's all I have.
Great.
I have
Thank
a question.
You so much.
I have a question. Does the VeriCare at $89 a month, does that include just one monitor, or is it more than one piece? I'm not sure.
So what it is, we look at the home, and we have motion sensors that are in the home. So it may be a motion sensor in the kitchen, a motion sensor in the bathroom, in the bedroom, there's a bed sensor. So all these sensors work in conjunction to give you information and send those notifications out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then it's like one receiving monitor, but a number of sensors in different rooms.
That's right. So it's all these different sensors, and everything is sent to you via phone. So it's an app, a free app on the phone, and that's how you're able to monitor what's going on.
To send to you, you mean? Like to the family?
Yes, it could be, and you could decide. It could be sent to the family. It could even be sent to a professional caregiver. It's up to you who you decide you want the notifications to go to.
Okay.
Excellent. Great. Brenda, did you want to jump in, or?
No, that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking it. Is there any other questions, or anybody want to use the chat if they want to share some of their comments or questions? That would be great. We'd love to hear from you.
We can tell stories about situations we've seen.
Yes, stories are always good. Kathy, you have a story you want to share?
Oh, I always have lots of stories I can share. Let's see. Oh, one of the devices that we didn't talk about, but it's similar to a PERS, is AngelSense, and it's something that's kind of an interesting version of a PERS, where the wearer can be tracked on the receiver's phone. And so we have a client who uses AngelSense for their loved one with dementia. And so when she goes out for a walk, the family can actually see on their phone where she is on a map, and they can follow the route that she takes. And the monitor has two-way feedback, so they can talk to her and say, "Hey, Mom, did you mean to go there? I thought you were going to the grocery store, but it looks like you're at the gas station." And then she can respond to that message that comes through on the device. And so that's kind of a neat one that they really like, this particular family, because she's cognizant enough that she can go out and go for a walk, but they're worried that she might get confused or get lost. And the other thing that's interesting about it is they can set a perimeter. And so if she goes outside of the perimeter of where she's comfortable, then that will set an alert off that will go to the families who can see that on their phone. So it's just another example. There's so many different types of technology and different companies, but that's one that we have a client that's been using it for quite a number of years, and they've been really happy with that particular use.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that that company actually initially developed that technology for autistic children. And like so many things, determined that this could be quite useful in other situations. And of course, is exactly as you brought up, Kathy. I see Jill has a question for us. Jill, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
It looks like I am.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. My question was in regards to the Carry medication dispenser. Is
Ah,
there any way to lock the dispenser? Because I can see using it with a client who she has the pill packs, but she likes to just help herself and take them whenever she feels like it. So is there any way that you can lock that container?
Yes. So
Tony,
are you
yes.
okay with me answering the question?
Absolutely.
Okay. So hi, I'm Tony from ACH.
Hi, Tony.
We make the Carry product. So Carry's secure functionality can be enabled in two ways. There's a key lock on the back of the device. So a caregiver in that kind of situation could actually connect the cartridge and then lock it.
Okay.
Right? And then the second functionality is that facial recognition can be enabled. So the thought process was the key lock usually works for people not helping themselves to the medication. The facial recognition can work in a congregate living environment where you don't want senior A taking senior B's medication. I hope that answers your question.
It does. And they said that the packaging can be prepared by certain pharmacies. Are there certain chains that do it, or is it a one-off
Yeah,
situation?
so what I would suggest is there's a number of partners across the country, so it depends on where you happen to be living. So if you go to carryhealth.com,
Okay.
there's a Find My Pharmacy functionality there. Probably the most flexible for the example of the territories that you're covering here is an entity called mednow.ca. So they're an online pharmacy, but there are other providers.
Jill,
Okay,
there's,
the key thing is it uses strip packaging. So not all local pharmacies have strip packaging yet. It's becoming more common, but it isn't as common as blister pack, for instance.
Okay. Well, I saw on the website that it says easy to open packages. Now, are they easy to open for seniors, or are they just easy to open for younger people?
No, they're definitely designed for seniors. So so what happens is when it's time for Carrie to deliver a dose of medication to the senior, Carrie will light up and go bippity boppity boo, right? And say, hey, Mary, it's time for your medication, right? The senior will come over, press the button. So there's a conscious decision being made by the senior, right? So you want that for medication adherence. And then what will happen is that the pouch with their medication will drop, and there's actually pre-torn. So that they can actually, and that tearing, that notching only happens at the time of delivery, right? So the pouches themselves are all sealed inside of the cartridge by the pharmacist. At the point of delivery, they create the notch to make it very easy for the senior to be able to open it, right? Because let's face it, my dad's 89 years old and he's quite functioning as an individual, but manual dexterity, is a bit of a challenge. So having the ability to just quickly open the pouch, pour it into your hand and take your medication, it's really designed to be very, very straightforward.
And was the pricing mentioned in the presentation?
The short answer is it depends on where you live, because dispensing rules are different in different parts of the country, and in this example, BC and Alberta, right? BC tends to be a little bit more generous in terms of how they fund dispensing fees versus Alberta. So as a result, the pharmacies make a decision as to how much they'll charge for Carry based on that, right? Because you're buying medication, right? And then you're buying effectively a subscription for Carry. But I would certainly suggest to you that it would be $70 or less a month. Give you a ballpark.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much, Tony, for being available to answer that question. And thank you to Jill for asking that excellent question. That's great. Thank you so much, the two of you. Is there any other questions or comments? No?
I have another one, if nobody else does.
No, go ahead. Absolutely.
With the personal response devices,
yes,
a challenge that I find is getting the senior to wear it.
Right.
So what I'm looking at right now is actually an Apple Watch, the Apple Watch SE, which has the fall detection, the GPS, water resistant, all that kind of stuff. And it looks to me like one of the bands that I can order is very similar to the initial Fitbits. And if any of you ever tried to put that Fitbit on and get those little nibs through the holes, it was a challenge. So I'm hoping to do that and have it set up that it's going to be very hard for her to take off. Because anybody I've talked to in terms of the wearable devices, there isn't one that you can sort of make sure it stays on, then they're not taking it off all the time.
Actually, Jill, the Angel Sense that I was talking
Yes.
about, our client that wears that and has dementia, it has a lockable magnet. And so her husband puts it on her, sort of the tail of her shirt or her sweater at the beginning of the day. And he uses a little device that's a lockable magnet. And so she can't get it off. Oh, you're muted.
Is it also wearable as a like a wristband or something like that?
No, that one is like a little, it's almost like, when you buy from clothing from the store and they have that thing, it's like that.
Tag.
Yeah,
Ah.
like a tag that locks on. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
at this point, this lady is still, she has care just a couple of times a week and lives alone. So I need something that I can put on her that she can't take off. I've considered tying a knot in the TELUS device around her neck so that because she has limited mobility, so that she can't get her hands back there to undo it. But I'm not sure if that would be approved of.
Might not be appropriate. Well, I have a really short, funny story about that. So I was in to see a family. This was a few years ago, and I walked in the door, and this lovely lady had this beautiful, child-sized doll at the front door, sitting on a chair, and it was kind of a Raggedy Ann doll. It was just a lovely piece, and it had a Lifeline monitor around its neck. And I laughed, and the daughter said, "Yes, this is the issue we're having, is that my mom won't wear it." So it was a very expensive, $75 a month device to be on the doll's neck. So we had a long conversation about maybe perhaps wearing it. But I just thought that was really quite cute how she had her doll wearing her Lifeline monitor. So
Jill,
it is
can
an
I
issue
just add?
sometimes.
I could just add, there's one thing to be careful of with the Apple Watch, and that's the charging. Apple Watches need to be charged fairly frequently, and if she has a caregiver coming in just 2 or 3 times a week, that may not be enough for charging capability. So it's one thing to just have a look at.
Yeah, that's a good point, Heather.
That's a good point,
Mine is
Heather.
always not charged when it needs to be.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you, Heather, for sharing that.
Jill, is her going out of the home a concern? Leaving the home and getting lost?
Oh, you're on mute again, Jill.
If she leaves, it's only in the company of the caregiver. She's too frail and to get around on her own.
Right. So I was going to suggest something like the VeriCare, where you don't have to worry about any of that.
And that would
Possibly.
have the fall detection.
It will show when there is a risk of it, when there's no movement. Yeah.
It's more passive monitor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's passive. So, it's not, it will, when there's risk of, then when there's a chance that there's no movement, it will notify you. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
For sure. Yeah.
Great.
I can share a couple more examples. We have a couple minutes before 3, unless anyone has questions. So we have a client, and this is just another use of technology that this family has been quite ingenious in figuring out. And they put in a little camera in the kitchen. And so it doesn't have, two-way communication or sensors or anything. It's just a simple little video camera, like a security camera. And what they would do is when they were talking to their mom on the phone, they found that her mother, this lady's mother, was always having a really hard time finding things in her kitchen. And she was kind of early stage dementia. And so she would watch on the camera and talk to her mom on the phone. And her mom would say, "Oh, I can't find where I put the such and such item." And she would have the camera on and she'd say, "Okay, mom, so go to the cupboard in front of you and now go to the shelf and then look at the back." And then she'd help her find. So she just used this camera as a way to kind of have her eyes in the kitchen and help her mom find things. So I thought that was kind of an ingenious way to solve a problem that they were starting to have. And it was pretty low tech, but still an interesting use of technology.
Yes, it sounds like a nanny cam.
Yeah, like a nanny
But
cam, exactly.
A good point. And I think from what I know that dementia can progress, well, slowly or quickly, and they'll move from one stage to another. So it would be awesome if they didn't have to purchase every one of these things and could just rent them for the period of time that it's appropriate.
That's a really good point, Judy. Yeah, that's a really good point, is that the stages might require different types of technology as things move along. We have another of our client who has dementia, and he is living at home with his wife, and his wife wasn't getting any sleep because he would get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and then he'd kind of get lost and wander around. And so she couldn't sleep at all because she was always keeping an ear out for him getting up. They ended up getting 24-hour care, so they had a live-in caregiver, and the live-in caregiver's job, or her role, was to monitor that bathroom getting up so that the wife could sleep. So what we did is we installed a bed sensor, which is pretty simple, and the bed sensor would set an alarm off in the caregiver's bedroom, and she would hear when the gentleman got up, and then it was her job to get up and help him back into bed so that the wife could get a good night's sleep. So again, just, you know, creative uses of technology. It's really kind of interesting to problem solve what the problem is and then figure out what's the right piece of technology to address that problem.
So I have a question. This is stepping back to the PERS again. You know, thanks for sharing your data, you know, or information on the wearables and the non-wearables. Is there one product that can combine both, you know, the GPS and the fall detection, you know, so you can wear it out, but also, you know, when you're in, I mean, like, I can't quite get my head into that situation yet, but I think everyone else has had a little bit more experience with other people and what the drawbacks are, or you know, where you want something to do something that it doesn't. But is there one piece of technology that can kind of cover you for outdoors and indoors?
Yeah, there's actually several that do offer that. And I know for sure that the Philips Lifeline has one. There is the TELUS Go Companion offers all of those options. Can you think of a couple of others, Kathy? There's definitely more than one. It depends very much on what your needs are, but yeah.
So you could have, some of those have the GPS tracker. So that's the difference. You have to get the PERS with or without a GPS tracker.
That's right.
The other thing is, with VeriCare, we can actually integrate a pendant into the system. But then again, you know, you have that challenge of the senior not wanting to wear a wearable or forgetting to wear the wearable. And with a GPS tracker, they need to charge that quite often as well. So yeah. So there's different combinations you can put together. I guess just looking for that perfect one. Or is there a perfect one right now?
Yeah, we've asked that before. Is there something that does everything? And it's about figuring out what the particular needs are, and then what's the particular device that meets that needs. But Judy, just to sort of summarize to your question, a lot of the PERS units, in fact, I think all of them, have different levels, and that highest level would have GPS and fall detection and work within your house. So it kind of, they go up in tiers. The very basic one is just in your house. The next step up is fall detection and a button within your house. And the third step up is the fall detection with the GPS. So it's very common to have all of those in one device for a PERS.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kathy. So I think we're coming to the end of our time here today. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you're interested in technology advancements for older adults and what's happening in Canada, check out the Age Well, I've given their website here, and again, everyone will get the handouts for this as well, but that's an organization that actually fosters and supports the development of technology to assist with aging. We're going to email all of you a handout, the information we talked about today, and also wanted to just give a brief plug for our upcoming webinars. Heather, do you want to talk about a couple of the fantastic webinars that we're going to be hosting, starting with Seniors Week in June?
Sure.
Thanks.
Our first webinar in June is going to be actually a cooking demo. So we are going to be joined by Julie Van Rosendahl, who's going to be doing a cooking demo. We will be sending out ingredient lists to anybody who signed up. So please go ahead and do that if you have any interest in this. And we're going to be talking about some of the things that get in the way of seniors eating well, and some of the ways that you can address those. So we're really looking forward to that. That one's going to be a fun one. So that will be our Seniors Week webinar. And then later on in June, we have a second one, which is hearing in your brain. So talking about ways that hearing can affect other brain functions, reasons why you should get your hearing checked, and not only checked, but addressed. Any hearing deficiencies that you have can be addressed. And so, yeah, that one's going to be on the 17th of June. So we have 2 coming up in June that we're really excited about. We'd love to have everybody join us for those.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Heather. And as always, check out our website, proactiveseniors.ca/education. And that's where we've listed all of our upcoming webinars. And we also have our past webinars on there. So if you have any interest in any of those, please check it out and give them a look. Is there any other thing? Kathy, have I missed anything?
No, you covered everything. Thanks so
Awesome.
much, Brenda and Heather and Vesa. That was great. So
Yes,
great
thank
to
you.
have all of your help. Yeah. Thank you, Vesa, for that wonderful demo. It's the things that Talk Tech are doing are really very fascinating. So feel free to if you have any questions or you want to know about technology or how it might help you or your loved ones, just reach out to us and we will be happy to help problem solve it with you.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.